Hello everyone, this is Umar Khan, and today we're going to be analyzing housing prices in King County, Washington, which is a county that encompasses Seattle and its suburbs. We have two main objectives. Our first objective is to understand how home prices vary geographically across King County, and our second objective is to develop a model to predict the price of a house based on all the information that we have available about it. The dataset that we're working with had around 21,000 records of individual houses. It had the price of the house as well as other information about the house, such as its square footage, the lot size, the zip code that it was in, the number of bedrooms and bathrooms, and so on. Now let's talk about our methodology. The first thing we did was to clean the data set, which generally entails getting rid of missing values and placeholder values and things that we don't really need that'll introduce noise. The second thing that we do is that we remove outliers. And this is very important because in our data set we have a lot of unusual and extreme values that down the line will end up skewing our predictions. I'll give you an example. There's one house in the data set that has 33 bedrooms. The next highest number of bedrooms is 13. So that extreme kind of outlier is really going to affect our model, so we take those kinds of things out. The next thing that we do is something called normalizing, which is really just a way of smoothing out our data distributions and making them a little bit more symmetrical and homogeneous. Housing prices they vary so wildly. You have cheap houses, but then it can go up indefinitely. So we want to try to make those distributions more even. Then what we do is scaling, which entails bringing each feature of the house on the same scale. So what that means is that we measure square footage in meters, but we measure price in dollars. And the fact that those two quantities are on different scales, it's not very helpful for modeling. And when it comes to generating a multiple linear regression model, we really want those values to be on the same scale. So what we do is we bring them on a scale from 0 to 1 for each feature. Then we generated some visualizations to sort of get a better and more direct overview of our data set, and just to it's really going to be helpful when we start analyzing geographic patterns in housing prices. And then the last thing that we do is we fit our model. We use multiple linear regression to generate an equation that looks at the relationship between each feature and the price, and that gives us an idea of, well, first of all, it allows us to draw predictions. Once we have all the other information about the house, we can predict the price, but it also gives us an idea of how important a given feature of a house is in determining what its price is going to be. So this chart shows us which features had the most effect on the price of a house, aside from location, and we'll get to that in a minute. As we would expect, the square foot living space in the house seems to have the most effect on its price. Then its grade seems to have the most effect, and grade seems to be a metric that the county applies when it's assessing a house. We see that the longitudinal position of the house is negatively related to the price, which means that the more that the longitudinal value decreases, the more the price of the house increases. And if you recall, longitude decreases the further you head west. So this makes sense because Seattle, the city, is on the western edge of King County. So the further west you go, i.e. the closer to Seattle you get, the more the price of the house increases. So now let's go ahead and take a closer look at the geographical distribution of housing prices. In front of us, we're charting out the price by zip code. And we see right off the bat that some zip codes, the median price of the house is astronomically high. You see in front of you 98040 and 98039. Those are the zip codes with the highest median value. Why that is the case is something I'll tell you towards the end. But as a general note, what you can see is that the Seattle city center is right around here, right around 98122, and we see that the median price of the house is its highest closer to the center, and it drops as we head out. But on the other hand, when we look at indoor square footage per house, the median indoor square footage, what we see is that the indoor square footage is the lowest around the city center, and it increases as you head out, which again makes sense because that's how cities are generally laid out. Populations are more densely located near the center, where living spaces are premium, houses are smaller, apartments are smaller, but then as you go to the suburbs, they get bigger. And then we look at our final metric, which I think is the true measure of housing costs, which is price per square foot. And again, we see that it's closer towards the center of the city, lesser as we go out, and we see that it's the highest right here, 98039. Now, like I told you before, I'd tell you about these two zip codes. 98009 is one of Seattle's most high-end neighborhoods. It's where Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos have homes. It's a super luxury neighborhood. Similarly, Mercer Island right here, 98040, is also a very high-end neighborhood, and it hosts a lot of famous people as well. Paul Allen, the co-founder of Microsoft, and Dunham, who was Barack Obama's mother. They have houses in Mercer Island right here. So that was our analysis of the Kings County housing data set. I hope that it was useful. And this has been Umar Khan. Thank you.